Hi everyone, welcome to the Showtime in the D podcast. We're your hosts, Chris Langlois.
Mike Slipchuk.
And after being a little bit in hiatus, getting over another no playoffs, I think we were both calmed down enough to sit here rationally and talk about the end of the season as we prepare for next year.
Yeah, digest our thoughts from the postseason comments from Red Wings and Red Wings personnel, but also looking ahead to what we could, what we hope to see, but also, realistically what we can foresee the team may be doing and come free agent day on July 1st. And also, obviously we're solely a Red Wings podcast that also touches on other NHL stuff, but the bulk of our stuff is Red Wings. So we've been kind of taking it all in, watching true playoff teams play, um, and
Well,
we're happy to be back.
almost true playoff teams. I wouldn't count Toronto as a true playoff
Oh,
team.
did they? Oh, how they? Oh, yeah, they lost Game 7.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
second round.
You know how many times I heard this is the year? Stupid Toronto fans.
I hate to say it, the Leafs fans, the fan base is so much like the Detroit Lions fan base. It is unbelievable. Like now that the Lions, the last 4 or 5 years, have moved into being a contender for once
Mhm.
in their franchise history, the fan base is just so gung ho on every year. Like this is our year, and last year, they were out in the second round, and the Leafs just can't get it done again.
All this whining about Marner, but I think to me it goes to Matthews.
Yep.
Like you watch what Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl doing in the playoffs, and then where's Matthews? Like he looks like he just doesn't care. Like
Yeah.
you know,
Well, what was it? Game 7. Yeah, Game 7. Oh yeah, the one that they lost, right, Chris? And no, Marner was screaming at the guys, trying to fire up the
yeah,
bench when they went down. I think it was 3-0 at that time.
yeah.
Anyways, but Matthews is kind of just looking around like this, as the
Mhm.
leader. I'm like, man, you're not taking any accountability, trying to hold the players
No,
accountable.
I think he was just experiencing deja vu
He's probably already.
because
Should I play at 9 a.m. at golf
you know,
or 10 a.m. tea time?
yeah, yeah. You know, in the 9 years that the Red Wings have missed the playoffs, the Maple Leafs have only won two playoff series more than the Red Wings. And we've not even made the playoffs. So I'm convinced. I'm convinced that when we do make the playoffs, as Steve Yzerman alluded to, he's not building a team to just make the playoffs and get bounced like Montreal was just bounced, right? When Detroit makes the playoffs and they enter their window, he's expecting that they're going to be going to conference finals. They're going to be competing for 15, 20 years like the old days, right? Every year they were a top five pick to win a Stanley Cup. And that's
He's
what
building a long
Eiserman is building, right?
Yeah, building a team
Um,
for the longevity,
yeah,
long tenure, yeah, of
right.
success.
I mean, we can get like Montreal made the playoffs this year and we didn't. If Todd McLellan was here all year, I firmly believe we make the playoffs over Montreal. No question. They also don't have many more prospects in their system, whereas Detroit still has three or four really good, important prospects in their system who are going to make us a significantly better team in the next 1, 2, 3 years.
Yep, the future is bright. As much as we're starting to get a little impatient, of course.
Yeah.
Even with Steve Eiserman's decisions to play vets, the future still is bright. So there's some optimism.
And one more thing going off that, I talked about it before we pressed record here. But we got the email from our ticket rep that next year is the 100th year, it's the centennial year of the Red Wings. You can't tell me that the Ilitch family isn't telling Eiserman, like, we better make the playoffs. This is our 100th year. Think of the advertisements that can come from that. Think of the money that can come from ticket sales. Like, imagine if they played, I don't know, New York Rangers or Toronto in round one of their centennial year. Like, imagine the money they'd make. The hype around they're back in the playoffs. It's their 100th year. Like, there's just has money written all over it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But without further ado, let's touch up on the agenda here. It's going to be a shorter episode, guys. Kind of a refresher in the sense of getting back into it. We'll have another episode leading up to free agency day from prior to July 1st. Should say that we're going to do a way more in depth analysis on restricted free agents and unrestricted free agents, but we're still going to cover some bases today. So what's on the agenda, man?
Well, okay, so the exit interviews that came at the end of the season, they were interesting. They caused a lot of talking amongst the media because Larkin basically threw Yzerman under the bus and said the team kind of hit a lull because they were sad or upset that there weren't any trades made to make them better at the trade deadline. The same day, Patrick Kane was asked the same question, and Kane said it didn't impact the team at all. In fact, if anything, it made them feel better because Yzerman trusted them. So you get two kind of different stories there. And then, I don't know, like almost 2 weeks later, Yzerman sat with the media with Todd McClellan, and Yzerman kind of threw some shade at Larkin.
Pardon me.
He said that Montreal and St. Louis made the playoffs despite not making a move at the trade deadline, and then Yzerman specifically said because their leaders led them there. I thought that was a direct shot at Larkin because again, March collapse, Larkin nowhere to be found.
Oh, nobody came out and said he was battling an injury.
No, yeah. Mhm.
Well, yeah, I was telling that a guy that's the future going to go down as the best American player of all time, Patrick Kane, who's won multiple cups and won on the world stage as well. The guy's a leader in his own way, leads by example, right? So for him to say that the guys weren't upset that there was for the lack of moves at the deadline, and then Larkin was to say something different, and then actually a few other guys. I think there was Kopp. I'm trying to remember here. Andrew Kopp. Um, and a couple of the other who else was anyways, but they all seem to be
I know Cop, but there
yeah
was one
they
more.
they
DeBrincat.
the Brinket, yeah. So they all seem to share the same message that Kane did. Like, no, the guys in the room are gelling. We like the guys that are here. We're prepared. We were prepared to play past the deadline with the same roster, and then Larkin is kind of different there. So I feel like Larkin was kind of using it as an excuse that they didn't acquire anyone at the deadline. But I think he just needs to step the hell up, step his game up.
I mean,
He's the leader.
he's supposed to be the leader.
Yep.
I think the leadership group on this team isn't good, quite frankly. 3 years in a row, Larkin and Ben Sherrod. I haven't had to say that name in a while. They had the letters, and it's the same collapse. So clearly, new voices are needed. I think. I mean, they're not going to take the C off Larkin, but they should. But it was interesting nonetheless. I think Yzerman said he had a conversation with Larkin and he wasn't going to go into details. He said, "You're more than welcome to ask Larkin if he wants to answer it." So I think he probably told Larkin, "You better tread lightly, pal, because this is my team." Um, and I think that's good. Like, I know people, and myself included, have been critical of Yzerman, but Yzerman is building a nucleus. Like when you stand back and look at the nucleus of his draft picks have been slam dunks. Like, and he's not even gotten draft lottery luck. So when you think of the long term projections, he's been doing a good job. It's just the short term kind of stopgap signings that have been the problems for the team, and that's something that will need to be addressed this offseason because this is an important offseason.
Probably Eiserman's biggest offseason as a GM ever, dating
Yeah, and
back
I
to his
mean,
days in Tampa as well.
yeah, and I feel like we kind of said this last summer, but last summer, for whatever reason, a guy like Ghost was not re-signed, and then we got Gustafson, who, he could be pissing
Malkin
off
was
Yzerman
traded.
right now. Because I don't know if you saw, but so Sweden lost in the World Championships, and Gustafson was whining to the media about how he was a healthy scratch. Like, to me, that, like, again, if I'm Yzerman, I'm looking at that thinking, like, you know what? That's just more drama I don't need. You didn't have a good year last year, anyways.
Garbage year.
Because that leads us to talking about guys we expect to be gone and guys free agents who we think will be back. So let's just start with the most obvious one. I'll be shocked if Patrick Kane has not re-signed. He all but said he wants to stay in Detroit. He even talked
I,
about his son and DeBrincat's son, like how you can't separate them. So
and he's pardon me. He enjoys the city of Detroit. He's at an age now that his I call her wife, but Kamala wife gets along with DeBrincat's wife and their kids, obviously. So there's that connection. And not only is it an original six, he loves the fan base, he loves the arena. Um, he does like the direction of where the team's going, and he still feels like he's an important contributing factor on the
well,
team.
he is an
He
important
is.
contributing factor.
He's our power play specialist. But what I will say, something that was telling for me that kind of left us a little bit scared the last little bit before he had resigned in years past, because what this is going on his third year, right?
Second, no, yeah, going on his
Going
third.
on.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
so
he
the
played
last
half a season
yeah,
and then
yeah. So
yeah,
last summer, before he resigned, he didn't say it. He didn't leave the media with much. Like,
no,
we'll see where things lay after the season, right? This time he had said, yeah, the feeling hopefully is mutual on the other side. He literally
yeah,
flat
and
out
then
said, "I
Iserman
want.
came out and said,
We would like
yeah,
to."
I think they have a deal already done. I think they're just gonna wait till after the Stanley
Yeah,
Cup playoffs are over.
and so Patrick Kane had said the other side hopefully is mutual, but he all but said, "Yeah, I'm signing here." So
Yeah,
very shocking if he doesn't sign here.
their power play was their like one good thing about the team last year.
Only
And
good
Patrick
fastball.
Kane runs the power play, so you're not. The Red Wings aren't going to let him go. He's a good veteran leader. And one interesting thing to watch for as the offseason goes on, and I really don't know how I feel about it, depending on how he would be used, is Jonathan Tays. Because there's so many rumors of him coming back to the NHL, and there's a lot of people linking him, like Patrick Kane, kind of vouching for him to come to Detroit. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, you know what I said about the leadership group that sucks? Like Larkin and Sherratt. Jonathan Tays was like Captain Serious, kind of like how Iserman was. If you play him, sign him to a cheap contract, let him try the NHL again, and he's like primarily a fourth line guy, I'm kind of okay with that. If you can move guys out,
And
because then you have,
what if he becomes a third line player,
wow,
works his
yeah.
way up, and
But
plays
for
second
for
power play?
me, it's his leadership,
The leadership,
right? Like
persona,
that could be
winning pedigree.
like I know he's an older guy and Detroit's already old for a rebuilding team, but I think if you're gonna go with veterans, it worked with Kane, it revitalized Kane. You could do the same with Jonathan Tays, play him in a limited role, and if he really gets going, then yeah, right. Like when we signed Kane, we didn't really know what we were gonna get,
Well,
right? And
after the
it'd be the
hip
same,
surgery, it was the hip reflex, right?
yeah.
There's been so many players that have had that in the past that never got the
Under
playing
Todd
time.
McClellan, Patrick Kane is
Yeah.
on pace for 95 points.
So
So
if you can send him to a cheap deal, 1 year deal, kind of how you brought in with Kane, a couple years ago, I'm okay with that. Low
yeah,
risk, low gamble.
yeah.
But yeah, so Kane will be back. Guys, forwards that we acquired at the deadline, Craig Smith will not be back.
Gone. No.
Gone. I
Lion will be gone.
who's that?
Lion. Sorry,
Oh,
Sarah.
Alex. Yeah, no, I know. My wife loves Alex Lyon. So yeah, no, Lyon will be gone. The feeling is mutual. I think on both sides for him to go somewhere else. Um, I also think two of the three veteran defensemen of Sherratt, Hall, and Gustafson, two of those three will be gone. I'm
Well,
gonna
not like Petrie. It will not be re-signed.
Petrie will
If
not be
he is, I'm
re-signed.
gonna lose my mind.
Yep, but I would say, and at the very least, one of those three, if Sherratt, Hall, or Gustin will be gone. So I think Hall will be the buyout candidate, personally. He's only got
Yeah,
one
I
year
agree.
left at 3.4, I believe, which is such a ridiculous
I mean,
contract.
I'm not kidding you. I know like 12-year-olds who could be better defensemen than Justin Hall. Like it's
Eh.
it is painful watching him play, and like he just needs to not be on our team.
And I think okay, so let's just say it's a Hall that's a buyout, which I really firmly believe, and I know, Chris, we've talked about it. That'll be the buyout candidate. So what will happen is, personally, I think Sherratt would then move down to the third pair, which he belongs.
Belong,
You
yeah.
bring up a guy like Axel Sandin Pellikka in that top four, but then I think for the Gustafsson move, the way you're going to get rid of him is probably by trade, which he shouldn't be that untradeable. He's got 1 year
No.
left, and I believe he's at 2.1
Yeah, it's a
million
pretty
a year.
decent cap hit.
I Yeah,
And,
so
and there's teams who need puck moving defensemen, right? Like, if he needs to, he can run someone's second power play. But we saw at the end of the year, like he was brought in for our second power play. Okay,
yeah,
Simon Edmondson didn't get any power play time until like mid March,
which
and
was
he
ridiculous.
had more points by a long shot than Gustafson. And
100%.
he only Edmondson only had like 10 points less than Sider, who
Well,
got first power play minutes.
yeah, he was brought in to be that secondary power play kind of threat. He was zero threat, and he was also brought in because with the departure of Ghost or Goth Despair, he Gustafson was supposed to help sturdy up the defense, and his defense game was just as bad as his power play. So that's what we
Jeez.
think on the back end. Up front, did we miss anyone? Let's go line by line. Raymond Larkin obviously will be back. As much as we'd love Larkin to be traded.
Well,
Um,
I still think with forwards, Eiserman should look at Rasmussen, Comfer, and Tarasenko.
and Cop.
I would keep Kopp. I think honestly, when he went down in March, that's when our season took a turn. He's good on faceoffs and the penalty
Defensively,
kill. Yeah, I know him and Comfort have those crappy contracts, but I think Kopp does a lot more to earn that contract than what Comfort does.
oh, I
But to,
agreed.
but to have both of them on our payroll is just ludicrous.
It's
So I
pointless.
think if you can move out some sort of combination of those three, you know, who knows? Maybe Tarasenko has a bounce back year, whatever. But I would rather play the young guys. Like we have Mazer, Carter Mazer. We have Lombardi. Like when I watched the Grand Rapids playoffs, Lombardi was one of the few players who looked good on Grand Rapids. The battle and compete that he had. Then you still have Danielson, who, um, every training camp he's had a pretty good training camp in Detroit. Like he could push for a roster spot, um, and you have Nygaard, who he looked he was scoring pretty regularly in the playoffs, both in the SHL and when he came to Grand Rapids. So you have all those forwards who could potentially fight for spots, who I would rather watch than those old guys making too much money
Yeah,
doing nothing.
if you can move out, I realistically Rasmussen's probably not going anywhere, and nor is Cop. If you can somehow move out Comfer though,
Yeah,
maybe retain a little bit of salary. I think that clears up a roster spot and then saves us for cap as well. He just
yeah,
hasn't had a good showing. His first year when they signed him, I was okay with him because he was actually putting up points and he was producing what he came here for—a little bit of offense, but also being sturdy defensively and good two-way. This last season, really off a cliff. But if they can find a way to move that out, would be fantastic. And also, we didn't touch on. Now that I'm thinking, a couple of fourth line forwards.
Oh, Mott, he's gone.
Tyler Mott's gone. He won't be brought back. We talked about Craig Smith. Valeno was traded.
Yeah, that was it.
I think that
That was
was
it.
it. And
Oh,
then
Fish.
Christian Fisher was traded. No, he
Oh
was
yeah,
traded to
yeah, yeah,
Columbus. Remember? Or no,
yeah,
no,
yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah.
Sorry, no, he was put on waivers,
He was put in
and
waivers.
Columbus
Yeah,
claimed him within 24 hours.
right.
So that's who we kind of see moving out realistically. And then the
All I
goaltender.
gotta say, if Sandine Pellica doesn't make the team in the fall, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I might request a meeting with Steve Eiserman because when I watched him play, like he had just flown from Sweden to Grand Rapids and instantly like made their power play 1,000 times better. Like his vision and his hockey IQ is off the charts, like off the charts. And the thing that frustrates me when I was watching those games, none of the players in Grand Rapids are smart enough like to receive his passes or be in a good shooting position. And like it's a waste of time to play him in Grand Rapids. Like he's too smart. So play him in Detroit. Let him cook with Patrick Kane. Like let
Yeah,
him, you know, that's why you have a guy like Patrick Kane.
I'm just giving Yzerman's tenure with his, playing rookies and bringing them up. I don't want to hold my breath, but do I think he is a needle mover and game changer and deserves to be there come September or October? Yes. And the reason I keep looking over at our TV, Florida just tied it up 2-2.
Yeah, I saw it too. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but that's who we see kind of leaving the team on a realistic standpoint. The goaltending we touched on, Lyon will be gone. I think that's mutual on both sides there. But with Peter,
One thing to note, they are making a couple coaching changes. One of
oh,
them I
okay,
think is really really
I didn't know
important.
this. News to me.
Yes, they are getting a new goalie coach.
Okay, new goalie coach.
So when you think of it, okay, think of the goalies who have come to Detroit in the last few years. Okay, Alex even before that, let's start with Nedeljkovic. Okay, Alex Nedeljkovic was a really promising goalie coming from Carolina.
Yeah.
Remember, he came to Detroit, he had a really good first half, and then he fell apart.
Yep.
Okay, so then we got Ville Husso. He came in, he looked fantastic for the first half of the season, and then he fell apart. Are we seeing a trend here?
Billy Huso.
So then we got Cam Talbot, who has had a very consistent. When you look across his career, he has put up consistent numbers over a 9-1 save percentage across his career. Okay,
Sneaky good.
and that, I mean, he wasn't horrible this year, but he couldn't, you know, get
Keep it going.
going consistently,
Get the
right,
momentum
for
going and
long
keep it going.
stretches.
Yeah.
Same with Alex. Alex Lyon was brought in when this whole three goalie thing, which
Well,
I
his
don't
first year,
necessarily.
last year, he dragged us
Yeah,
into a playoff contention,
yeah,
essentially. But
but I mean, again,
he got
even
burnt out.
still, exactly. So and then this year, Talbot, Lyon, and then of course they brought in Mrazek. Like the goaltenders have just not been consistent under this goalie coach.
Yeah.
So Todd McClellan talked to Yzerman, and they haven't hired anybody officially yet. They said they'll put out a press release once it's decided. Personally, I think they should hire Chris Osgood. But hey, who am I? The
I
guy
mean,
should be in the Hall of
he's
Fame while
he's
I'm on
he,
his topic, but
he's
whatever.
he's good in the booth. I don't know if he has the media personality. Chris Osgood, I've met him a few times. Great guy, but I think he belongs still doing the technical work, which is essentially playing hockey, but coaching hockey and helping the goaltenders. But I mean,
Um,
Osgood's better in the booth than Howard. Thank God, I haven't seen him in around.
well, I think they're cutting a lot of. We won't get into that, but they're cutting a lot of. I think Jimmy is
A
out of a
casualty.
job, but whatever.
Okay.
So yeah, and then a video coach as well, which
Yep.
I mean, whatever. But I think the goalie coach, that could be a difference maker going into next year
Yep.
if they can get somebody to really get the goalies to, you know, come up with some sort of strategy to be more consistent to stop the puck,
I'm just
especially on the penalty kill.
I'm surprised they're not bringing back Blashill as an assistant. Oh, that's right. He got hired by Chicago. Good coach. Bedard.
You know what? You know what? I kind of feel sorry for Blashill because he took the Red Wings during their worst years of their rebuild.
Yeah.
And now he has Chicago. It's going to be like the worst years of their
And
rebuild.
hey, can you imagine within a year of being hired, Bedard requests a trade?
You're pretty much hired to just run the team so they keep losing, and then they're going to replace you.
They're going to replace you after a couple years of tanking so much. Yeah.
He's going to do his best Mike Babcock impersonations.
Yeah.
I love listening to him like talk with his stupid catchphrases.
Assertive.
Yeah, I felt we were assertive tonight. I didn't wear my glasses for the game tonight, so I'm gonna try wearing my glasses next game to look smart.
No, yeah. So, what? We're getting sidetracked here.
Yeah, I know. All right. Okay. So that's kind of where we're at. Like, as we go more into the off season here, as the playoffs end, we're gonna get more of an indication on where free agents might go, what's going on with RFAs, if if there's a chance that them being offer sheeted or traded, and then of course some players might become might come on the trade market, like Byram. I was just saying earlier from Buffalo is apparently on the trade market, as is Keandre Miller from the Rangers. So those could be potentially some things to keep your eyes on as we get closer to the
Two
end of
good
the
lefty
playoffs.
defensemen that which we need.
Yeah, so as we get into the end of the playoffs and into the trade deadline season, we'll, like we said earlier, we'll come back with another episode to prepare us for what could be a very important offseason, hopefully. So that takes us to the playoffs so far. We're not going to, go game by game here, but we are going to talk about some uh, key things that we noticed in the playoffs. First of all, the Leafs collapse. It's great. I mean, they struggled against Ottawa. It's not like they handily beat Ottawa.
No,
And then they had another game seven. They had a three. They had a 3-1 series lead. Right, 3-1 series lead. Am I losing my mind?
no, or was it 3-0? No, it's
No, it
3-0.
wasn't 3-0. It was three. No,
Yeah, yes,
no, it
they won
wasn't.
two of the three first games in overtime, like Ottawa. You're talking about.
No, oh yeah, no. I'm talking the second round though.
Sorry, my mistake. No, they had a
No, they had a two nothing series
two
lead,
nothing first two games at
and then in
home,
game three they were up 2-0.
and then they lost in overtime,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
they
And
lost
then
game four,
was
and
that Brad Marchand who scored an important
yeah,
goal?
the Leafs murderer, and
His big
then
nose is just too much for them.
yeah, rat face. But no, and then
Yeah.
they won game four. They won blew out game five in Toronto, blew Toronto out, lost a tight game in game six, and then well, game seven.
Well, no, they won a tight game in game six.
No, the Leafs won it. Yeah, sorry, I'm talking
Yeah,
in
that's what I'm saying.
Leafs perspective. Yeah, Leafs,
Oh, okay. So
and then game seven.
think of a Leafs fan. Like think of it like, okay, you get blown out on home ice in game five. They're probably going to go lose in game six, right? No, the Leafs play a pretty good game actually. Get that win, and you know the fans are just buzzing again. Like, oh my god, this is it. Like, we're gonna go back. But then they just get blown out again in game seven. Like, you could have just lost in game six and spared the fans the heartbreak.
Yeah,
But
spare the fans the thousands of dollars of tickets they spent. Ridiculous.
which brings me to Toronto fan. There was jerseys being thrown on the ice during the play. Every time Marner touched the puck in the third period, he was being booed.
Yeah,
Like it's it's really funny because it just literally keeps happening year by year, and until now, there's been no changes. So now Brendan Shanahan's not coming back. They're not renewing his contract. Um, and Marner's very, very likely leaving that team. So it's
and
going to be very interesting to
yep.
watch and read reports about where he might go. What I'm hearing a lot is that he's not interested in playing for another Canadian team.
Yep.
So that's good because the last place I would want him to see him go would be Montreal because screw
Division
Montreal
rival.
and those stupid French fans and uh, you know I just ole, you ain't getting Marner. So hopefully Eiserman can work magic and convince him to come to Hockey Town. Wouldn't it be funny if we played Toronto next year in the playoffs and Marner
First round.
scores the goal to
Yep.
eliminate them?
First round makes a beautiful play.
Or imagine we sign Marner and Marchand.
Yeah. Both Marchand assists on the game winner
Yeah.
to Marner.
Uh,
No, but and then we'll see. I think Edmonton's going to end up taking Dallas, and it's going to be a rematch in the
yeah,
final.
I thought of this going to work the other day. When was the last time there was the same two teams in the Stanley Cup Finals 2 years in a row?
2008, 2009, Red Wings, Penguins.
So you kind of can compare Crosby to McDavid, right? Like generational player. Crosby lost in 2008 to the Red Wings. And then he won the following year in 2009. So McDavid lost last year to Florida. Is this the year that he overcomes that hurdle and
He's off the
wins it?
charts. He's incredible.
For Toronto fans, imagine what it's like to watch the Oilers. Like their best two players actually show up game by game by game. Like
Yeah, every game they show up, they make whether they don't score or not, but they usually do at least acquire some points in
oh,
the game.
they
But
pretty much score at
yeah,
will. That's
but they make big plays regardless.
yeah.
Defensive plays, offensive plays, like
And I mean, when you watch McDavid skate, like every stride he takes, you can feel the energy just from his skating
even
stride.
even Draisaitl.
Yeah.
Like
It's
dry.
but McDavid especially. Like when you watch McDavid in
Yeah.
person, you can just feel. It's hard to describe unless you see him in person. It's
Well, and I'm
you
not
know,
saying Draisaitl's as good as McDavid, but like Draisaitl's got the longer legs. Like Draisaitl can fly when he
mm,
gets going. Not saying he's McDavid, but like sometimes overlooked because of McDavid is
mm,
the star player, but he's
yeah.
no slouch.
If the Oilers lose in the Stanley Cup Finals, poor Corey Perry. Like,
I
how
know.
many how many years of
Yeah,
Stanley Cup Finals
Tampa,
losses with that?
Montreal, Edmonton last year. No, like he's
Yeah, like
like
this.
three cup
You know what's
finals
crazy?
in a row
So he won a Stanley Cup, but it
with
was
the
in
Ducks.
2007.
With the Ducks.
Like it seems like yesterday they won that Stanley Cup, but and let me tell you, we were screwed against the Ducks that year in the playoffs. Frickin' Pronger. Ugh.
Yeah, so we'll see. I do think Edmonton's gonna pull through this year. They have even almost like a different glow about them and a different element. Like when I watch their games, I've been watching every single Edmonton Oilers game, and the fans like last year they were great too, but this year they're just off the charts.
I can't wait to go to your parents and watch a game with your dad. Cause I'll be sporting my Red Wings gear and just chirping your dad the whole time.
Yeah. So
So yeah, that's playoffs in a nutshell. Like Carolina's probably looking at another conference finals loss, so it'll be interesting to see what changes come.
that's gonna be
But
some type of
at
record.
least they won a game in the conference finals.
So it reached their losing streak in the conference finals reached 15 straight games.
That's
That's
unbelievable.
got to be a record in the NHL. Like that's
Well, I mean, how many Game Seven losses has there been for the Maple Leafs in a row? Or not Game Seven, but elimination games. So they can battle it out with Carolina for worst record to have. But yeah, I mean, other than that, there's been no major, I'd say, surprises. Like I thought Colorado would have went further in the playoffs.
Dallas is a good team,
Um,
man.
they are a good team, but still, I
Yeah.
thought Colorado would have been better than they were.
But it's kind of dumb how Bettman has the division set up. Like that should not be a first round matchup.
I know.
That, like that's a
I think
conference
I talked to this
final.
about you the other day. I think I talked about this to you the other day because Bettman's supposed to retire in the next couple of years, and now that Brendan Shanahan is like done in Toronto, I would like to see him become the next commissioner of the NHL.
I, I think he would
Like an
do
actual
yeah,
hockey guy with a business background. Like, that makes
huge
sense to me.
huge ambassador for the game. That he played at a high
Yeah,
level in his playing days. He's won multiple cups, world
yeah.
championships, gold medals. But yeah, I agree.
So I mean, somebody with a hockey background because every time I look at Gary Bettman, I just think like, what an idiot. Like, yeah.
Definitely wasn't a
Like
hockey player.
you're bad when you have to like embrace being booed when you go on the ice. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah. No, but
So
yeah.
so I mean that's kind of everything in a nutshell here as we continue our lovely off season. I can't wait till the days of our off season being only 2 months.
Yeah, when we're actually
Um,
competing.
yeah, I mean I really believe with a full year of McClellan and whatever changes come this off season, I do think we make the playoffs next year. Um, it's going to be interesting to see what continues to go on in the off season. I think Eiserman is dead set serious on not only improving the team, but I think he knows not that he cares about what other people think, as he said in his media availability, but I think he knows the fan base is growing tired. This is the longest playoff drought the Red Wings have ever had as an organization. Eiserman is very competitive. He has high expectations. It's not like he's happy with what's going on. So I think we will make some splashes in free agency. I think he's going to do what he can to lure big names
Yeah,
like
possibly
Marner.
RFA matching sheets, matching those
Yeah,
RFAs.
and I mean, if
Free
you if
trades.
say Marner stays in Toronto for whatever reason, or if he goes elsewhere or whatever, then Eiserman's going to have to explore trades.
Yep.
He's just going to have to. So as we get closer to, like I said, when the Stanley Cup playoffs ends, as we get into the draft, we'll look to do another episode to
We'll do
prepare for.
way,
Well, to
way
talk
more in
about who
depth.
the Red Wings could who the Red Wings could potentially pick with
Who,
their stupid
well,
13th pick.
who, yeah, cover the draft. Draft possibilities for the first round. What they might be able to do. Maybe trade up in the first round. Probably not going to happen, but we'll get more in depth on that. We'll get more in depth on possible free agent targets, RFA,
Yeah,
restricted free agent offers and matching offers, and then possible trade scenarios.
yeah, and I mean, if we sign Marner, then I will have the biggest party of the summer, and I'll even invite Leaf friends. Dimmy, yo, but did I tell you, Dimmy is now a big Oilers fan.
Oh yeah,
He was messaging me yesterday, and after the Oilers won, he sent me some stupid message like, "Oh, I told you, you know, you gotta call a winning team because I'm a winner," and da da da. It's like, you're a Leafs fan sometimes, you're a Red Wings fan other times, sometimes
Jimmy.
you're a Dallas fan. Frick.
Oh,
Well, this has been a slice.
been a slice.
Yeah. So hopefully June brings us some nicer weather, and with the nicer weather will come great change for Hockey Town.
Only for Hockey Town. No other places for hockey. Only the Red Wings.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Toronto can fall off a cliff. Uh,
Well, they kind of did after Game
Montreal,
7.
Montreal can stay in Quebec. They wanted to leave Canada. Those French speaking goofs. So
Yeah,
let
thanks
them
for.
create their own little hockey league with. What's that Russian in Montreal? What's his name?
Oh,
Damadov. Damadov.
Demidov, yeah.
Yeah, one
Well,
of the kids at my school always Damadov. We got Damadov. We have Damadov. What a dumb name.
but yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we'll like I said, as the summer goes on, we'll have another episode, and yeah, hopefully some more nice weather, more golf days,
Yeah, golf and swim, and only
and
4 weeks left until summer break. So
yeah.
life is gonna be good. All right,
Well, my
go
friend,
Wings.
let's go Red Wings.
Until next time.